Chairwoman Fox, Ranking Member Scott, members of the committee, thank you for this opportunity. My name is Jonathan Holloway, and I'm the president of Rutgers University, the State University of New Jersey. To help you understand me better, I offer the following. My maternal great-grandfather, William Johnson Trent, was an early organizer of the colored YMCA in Atlanta and served as president of Livingston College in Salisbury, North Carolina. His son, Bill Trent Jr., my grandfather, was Dean of Education at Bennett College in Greensboro, North Carolina, before becoming the founding executive director of the United Negro College Fund. Sure. May I start the paragraph at the beginning? Okay, where I left off. Even closer. Okay. His son, Bill Trent, my grandfather, was Dean of Education at Bennett College in Greensboro, North Carolina, before becoming the founding executive director of the United Negro College Fund. My father, a career officer in the Air Force, was the first black person to teach at the Air War College in Montgomery, Alabama. I share this to make clear that a commitment to education and to providing access is in my DNA. And though I fully recognize the myriad ways in which my experience and that of our Jewish community are different, I know something about the awful impact of discrimination too. When I served as an intern for the House Ethics Committee, my father brought me to Capitol Hill on my first day. As we approached the committee offices, he said, when I was your age, the only way someone who looked like us could cross the threshold is if you were pushing a food cart. This is part of the reason this discussion matters so much to me. I tell you with pride that Rutgers boasts one of the largest Jewish student populations in America, and I tell you with conviction that we condemn anti-Semitism in the strongest terms possible. We do so today, we did so long before October 7th, and we will always do so. Rutgers, home to nearly 100,000 students, faculty, and staff, takes pride in being a public university. We conduct life-changing research and clinical care, and we educate tomorrow's leaders, many of them first-generation college students, and many of them from low-income families. What's more, Rutgers is world-renowned for its Jewish scholarly community. We are one of only a few dozen universities in America with the Department of Jewish Studies. Our Bildner Center for the Study of Jewish Life holds public lectures, trains teachers on Holocaust education, and hosts the Rutgers Jewish Film Festival. Rutgers is also home to the Miller Center on Policing and Community Resilience, which is dedicated to protecting valuable communities that are facing anti-Semitism or other forms of intolerance. The Rutgers Hillel and Chabad houses, both among the largest in higher education, sit in the heart of our Big Ten campus in New Brunswick. During my presidency, we have developed a formal partnership with Tel Aviv University focused on faculty collaborations. As part of that relationship, TAU researchers will have a presence in the Health and Life Sciences Center being built in New Brunswick. We find ourselves here today because of the devastation that the Hamas terrorist attacks have wrought. It is heartbreaking to think about the senseless and horrific violence of October 7th, about the hostages still held captive by Hamas 230 days later, about the thousands of Palestinian children killed in the war, about the humanitarian crisis in Gaza that gets worse every day. At Rutgers, this war has been a tragedy for our Jewish and Palestinian communities. Many in our community, searching for a way to curtail this tragedy, have turned to activism and protest. During this period of heightened fear, anxiety, and polarization, Rutgers has focused on three essential priorities: to ensure the safety of our community, to affirm and uphold our policies, and to promote dialogue and education. I'd like to emphasize this last point: dialogue and education. Disciplining a person for breaking a rule is easy. It is much harder to build the trust to question and to understand across difference. The battle against anti-Semitism, against bigotry in all of its forms, must be waged with education. We began this semester with lectures and films centered on meeting discrimination with humanity. In New Brunswick, we established an advisory council on anti-Semitism and Jewish life, whose work continues to be pivotal. Jewish studies and Middle Eastern studies faculty have brought Israeli and Palestinian students together in a classroom, not to convince or to change minds, but simply to listen to each other. We have planned training and discussion around anti-Semitism, and we have partnered with the Anti-Defamation League in these efforts. Like so many other universities this spring, we saw a protest encampment take shape on our New Brunswick campus. It lasted for a little more than 72 hours. When on the third morning, some student protesters called for a rally to disrupt exams, we moved quickly to shut the encampment down. We made a choice. That choice was to engage our students through dialogue as a first option instead of police action. We had seen what transpired at other universities and sought a different way. Without compromising on my fundamental stance against divestment and boycotts, we agreed to talk and to listen. If ever there was a time for dialogue and a focus on civil discourse, it is now. We are in a highly polarized time where we are confronted by objectionable and offensive ideas. Part of what universities do is to help the members of our community navigate that reality so that they become better, stronger, and more resilient citizens. We do that by teaching people to be curious, to listen, and to engage in civil discourse. Finally, let me speak briefly to the Rutgers community. I have heard you over the last several months. I have heard your frustration at injustice in our world, your pain at senseless suffering, and your desire to make Rutgers a stronger community. And for that, I want to say publicly, thank you. We cannot give into the easy path of letting our differences become our divisions. The healing will take time, and through these efforts I mentioned earlier, I am committed to it. We are committed to it. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.